this piece, I want to talk about holiday lets. I want to put a bit of a spotlight on a certain mortgage product. So we have a lot of viewers who are looking to get into holiday lets in 2024. It's going to make them more profit, more money compared to the traditional buy-to-lets. We've got a lot of our landlords that have already made that transition into the holiday let sort of market. So I thought I would take a look at what looks to be around the top of the table in terms of a 5-year deal for a holiday let mortgage right now. Now, look, you will see there'll be some great headlines with rates cheaper than 5.94%. But be wary of the arrangement fees, because look at my second bullet point. This has got an arrangement fee of $9.99. It's about as cheap as an arrangement fee you're going to get. It's quite commonplace nowadays for lenders to offer some incredibly cheap headline grabbing interest rate, but then when you look at the arrangement fees that are being charged, can be anything up to an additional 7% of the borrowing. So if you've got a 200 grand mortgage, that's £14,000 extra fee you're going to have to pay. Massive, and all of a sudden it's not as competitive as you thought. So this is a really nice blend. 5.94 is a really solid rate. That's 75% borrowing as well, which is pretty much the highest level of borrowing you're going to get. It's got that really nice, relatively cheap arrangement fee. And here's the thing. If you're doing a remortgage, it comes with a free valuation and free legals as well. So, you know, happy days, extra savings for you. I mean, that could be in excess of £1,000 worth of savings, maybe £1,500 when you talk about solicitor costs and paying for a valuation fee. So nice to have, certainly. Now, here's something from a policy point of view on this particular product. The policy says there's no maximum bedrooms. Now, there's a bit of a cautionary word here of advice, because I know as an experienced broker in this area that the bigger the number of bedrooms you go, the more nervous the lender or the underwriter is going to be. So if you are coming to this lender with a 5 or maybe a 6 bedroom property, you probably, you know, in a decent area that's good for tourists, you know, would work well as a holiday let, then I think all day long you should be okay. Once you're getting above that 6 bedroom figure to 7 to 8 to 9 bedrooms, that's where we need a lot of information up front. We need to speak to the lender, the underwriter, to get a feel for whether that's likely to be accepted. In reality, if the property you're looking to use as a holiday let was in the past a bed and breakfast or a care home or a guest house, something of that nature, I'd be surprised if this lender will take that type of property on board. But they do say that there's no maximum bedroom, so it's worth asking the question, really, if you've got one of those larger properties. You can borrow up to £500,000, which, frankly, covers pretty much everybody. Now, here's another positive here. Low, medium, and high. What I mean here is, how do they work out how you can borrow the money? Because lenders use, depending on which lender you go to for a holiday let mortgage, there's 2 camps. If you're not at this one, you might want to jot this one down. There's 2 ways that lenders can calculate how much they're going to lend you when it's a holiday let. There's a very safe and prudent way from a lender's point of view. And then there's a more aggressive way, more flexible way, that means that you are likely to be able to borrow more money. So where you're getting a larger holiday let, you really want to be leaning to those lenders that work on a low, medium, and high. And this product is exactly on that sort of basis. So really pleased to see that this lender, if you're going to lend on a holiday let, will look at those weekly, seasonal predictions on what you're likely to get in as gross holiday let revenue across a low season and the mid season and then the high season. And then they do some calculations from there. And nearly always you'll get more borrowing compared to this more prudent method. And by the way, the prudent method, just to maybe finish off that conversation, is yes, they'll lend the money to you to use as a holiday let, But these more prudent lenders say, but the rent figure we use is not the holiday let projections, it's what that property would rent out at, as if it was just a normal family let, a normal AST, assured short hold tenancy basis, which clearly is going to be a smaller figure. So if you're getting a smaller end property, it probably doesn't matter too much. But if you're getting a larger property, and if you can borrow up to $500,000 at 75%, then you're buying at 670, pushing 700,000 as a purchase price. You definitely want a lender that uses the low, medium, and high, and this one does. And so that's a big tick in the box. I applaud that lender for taking that approach. And here's another thing. It can be a brand new holiday. So it doesn't have to have any sort of track record of being a holiday let. So you might think, well, from a lender's point of view, surely that's a bit more of a risk. Is it going to work? Is it in the right area? If there's no track record that people are going to book this holiday let, you could, there are some lenders that want to see a track record, but this one doesn't. Brilliant. Great. They're going to back you if it's in the right area. It looks and smells and feels like it should work as a holiday let, even though there's no track record. Then they're still going to back it, and they'll say they will lend on this type of property. Even if you're going to use it for Airbnb. And what I mean by that is that you're not giving it to an agent to manage. Let's say you're going to manage it yourself. You're going to put it on Airbnb or Booking.com and self-manage. There are some picky lenders out there that if you're going to self-manage, will not lend to you. So be mindful of that when you're talking to your broker about giving them that information. If they're a decent broker who understands about holiday let lenders and their requirements, they will be asking you down to that detail, how are you going to manage the property? Are you doing it yourself? Are you giving it to an agent? But again, this lender doesn't care. So really happy days. Again, applaud the lender for that. But in brackets, not SA, not serviced accommodation. So what do I mean by that? Is that if you're going to use this property, yes, to let on a short-term basis for short-term bookings, but the guest is more likely to be a worker, more likely to be a contractor, a tradesperson, a professional who's coming into an area to work through the week, then this lender is not looking for that type of business. And you might say, well, how would the lender know? Well, depends on the location, I would say. It's not that always easy to find out, but if you're looking to buy a property that's not in a traditional tourist holiday area, and it is in a more of a commercial area, there's your clue, and you could find that the underwriter is going to decline the case. And the final comment on here, and this reflects that this product is offered by a building society, is that they tend to be more cautious in nature, the banks and building societies, and they tend to want as business smaller landlords. So if you have more than 3 properties in your portfolio, this isn't for you. There are other lenders, of course, that have lots of appetite to lend to you when you've got 4 and 5 and 10 and 20 and 50 properties. But with this particular lender, probably really because it's a building society, that they're not looking for portfolio landlords, not the serious professional landlords. It's the landlord that maybe has another job and is just starting to build a portfolio up. Then up to 3 in the portfolio is fine. But if you're purchasing number 4, or even watch out for this one, you're remortgaging number 3, but you're pulling money out to buy number 4, you could end up getting declined as well on that point. So bear that one in mind. But look, if I'm talking to you, if that is of interest to you, if you're looking to start to plan to get your holiday lets for this year, this gives you an idea of the sort of rates that are out there right now. If you listen to my prediction section, then I don't see these rates dropping much, particularly if you are a portfolio landlord, although we might see some drops over the next week or two from the building societies. So on this one, we might actually see the rates dropping a little bit over the next week or two. I would not be surprised. So happy days on that one. And if you do want to have a chat a little bit more to us about what's out there, do I fit? maybe you are a portfolio landlord and you're thinking of getting into holiday lets. What would those look like then? There'll be a link to our diary at the end of this piece, and just book some time on. Look, there's no obligation, no commitment, bit of your time, bit of our time, and we'll give you our expert opinion, and that will help you to make decisions, and that's what it's about.